Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I tell you what, I wasn't going to go live, but I decided to go live because I've been hearing since about 2:30, 3 o'clock this business that I got in my title about things going to be happening in space and a lot of other things. It's been a huge week, and we got a lot of things that are on the table that's going to be happening, and we're going to have a lot of distractions thrown at us. And I'm just letting my time go by so I don't say any words that'll suppress me. How you doing, Em? How you doing, DeCat? Sandy, how you doing? So what the big story was that I understand is coming out on CNN now. How you doing, Doc? Sherry's here. What's coming out on CNN now? CNN now is this business about missiles going to be launched off with possible NUKEs on them, right? And this has been going on for about the past 7 hours, 5 or 6 hours, with members of Congress encouraging the State Department to make a announcement. They're calling it a national security announcement. That people need to know what the threat is. And I was thinking, okay, well, I went and checked it out. Now, I found it odd that a lot of things were happening as far as a spy report coming out, confirmation stuff we've already known, but I think it's part of waking up our fellow citizens, things that are coming out. And I'm not minimizing this story that CNN is breaking right now. I heard from my plumber intel. How you doing, Jersey Joe? Diane, how you doing? Ken, Robin, Debbie, David, William. We got Kim in here. Yeah. How you doing, Kim? Let's see. Yeah, it could be another scare attack. Attack. How you doing, Marilyn? So, when you read some of these bulletins, it's like, oh well, look what we've had happen so far. We had this person that Shim. I used to go to school where they had nuns, and they cracked you on the knuckles with a ruler when you got out of line. School like that. And this one nun, she said, when you run into somebody that looks like a she, you don't know if they're a she or a him, you call them a shim. So I think I'll use her term, shim. We had this shim with a 5-year-old in tow, and we talked about that last night. And then since then, we've had this incident that you all know about. I'm sure you've heard about in Kansas City. And we're waiting for reports to come out about that. So we got those two situations, and a lot of other stuff I'll get into. I just want to make sure I don't say anything out of line. But then this story pops up about the NUKES, okay? And here's some of the stuff that was coming out. Well, first about the at the end of the Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, Missouri. You know about that happening. So also, we have intelligence information is now available to all senators. What is that about? Sources tell Fox that Turner, I guess that's a representative in the Congress, is asking the Biden administration to declassify deals with a concerning Russian capability. The potential seriousness of the threat is grave. However, the threat is not immediate. Jake Sullivan, he's been in trouble, been mentioned in some of the reports as somebody who's on the edge of being indicted. And we won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but he's put himself on the stage to talk about this threat, whether Americans should be worried. I think in a way that question is impossible to answer with a straight yes, because Americans understand there are a range of threats and challenges in the world that we're dealing with every single day. And those threats and challenges range from terrorism, okay, to state actors. He's confident that President Biden, in the decisions he's taking, is going to ensure the security of American people going forward. The notice that was sent to the members of Congress, and I think this was, throwing confetti in the air. We know there's danger out there, but describes, quote, an urgent matter with regard to destabilizing foreign military capability to a destabilizing foreign military capability that should be known by all congressional policymakers. Okay, that's chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner. So the next post that I have here, I got a screenshot of because it was coming out pretty fast today. Today, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence has made available to all members of Congress information concerning a serious national security threat. I'm requesting that President Biden declassify all information relating to this threat so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond to this threat. So everybody is all bristled up, and Jake Sullivan comes out to make his Island Girl says, "You lucky day." That's right. Thank you for coming aboard, Island Girl. Hi, Donna. How you doing? Sissy, Jersey Joe, single songwriter. Anybody out there I missed, I apologize. Jax, how you doing? So let me see. Mike Turner. Oh, he's a monger, huh? So Peter Alexander asked him about what Representative Turner was squawking about, this big threat that was coming up. Can you tell Americans there's nothing they have to worry about right now in terms of what he describes as a national security threat? And Jake Sullivan said, we haven't seen much of Jake Sullivan at all lately, but that answer is impossible to answer with a straight yes. So people on the edges that have heard about it, I contacted a couple of people. Nikki's one of them. I don't know if she made it in. Now, when Nikki comes in, she's got to go to bed early. So y'all behave yourselves in the chats. Use numbers for vowels. Hi, David. How you doing? And stuff like that. So she don't have to worry so much. That's appreciated. But anyway, so, but it was going all around on the interwebs. But, a lot of people didn't hear about it. But then I heard CNN was reporting on it late in the evening. Now, what's that? I thought to myself, what kind of strategy is that? Well, I figured it out. There's so much going on that's going to be damaging to this administration, things that have gone on that are damaging, that here they come with this nuclear business. Remember, I said about 4 days ago, maybe 5, that they put these brand new sanctions on Russia. What did the sanctions have to do with? They cut off a lot of news services from Russia. And I said the stuff where I usually got my information from dried up by about 60%. Only got about 40% of the information I used to get. on what's going on in Ukraine and other places. So they put a stranglehold, or tried to put a stranglehold on what was coming out of the Russian Federation in response to Tucker Carlson having that benign interview. Benign meaning it could have been a lot worse as far as disclosing information. But so while that's happening, we find out that Biden has lost his mind, as we all know, but regular people are having it confirmed that Biden's brain is frizzled out. Hold on a second. I got to, all right, Lone Wolf, stop by, buy me a coffee. I appreciate that, Lone Wolf. Keep on rocking, she said. Thank you very much. Thank you, Christopher, for helping last night. I appreciate it. So anyway, I slowed down a bit. I still got a little bit of a throat thing going on. I'll just have to clear my throat for a second. Now, I'm not going to say that this nuclear business is not serious and that we should not be concerned. We should be. And I will read some more analysis from Eastern media. So Elon Musk had brought out some comments that I didn't get to in my past broadcast. I figured we'd talk about it later, where they were accusing Musk of helping Russia with his satellites. And he came out with a rebuttal that his equipment and subscriptions can be bought on the free market. Just because they have satellite photos showing Russian troops having the little satellite dishes and stuff that Elon Musk sells, doesn't mean that he's exclusively helping the Russian Federation, and that the Ukrainian army has been making big use of his systems. So he has said in the past week that this is, a canard, and they're looking for anything to ostracize him or damage his company. But let's see, one of these comments was breaking here. NBC News, U.S. President Biden has been tracking the, quote, serious national security threat. There are options available for dealing with the threat, and U.S. officials believe there are ways to, quote, contain the threat without triggering mass panic, U.S. officials say. Well, when you're reading stuff like that, the only things that are causing concern and any trace of a panic is coming from Turner and from Jake Sullivan, all of a sudden deciding to make this monumental announcement. So anyway, I will play along with it, because anytime they do stuff like this, it could be a look here and not there. Okay, what do they not want us to look at? All right, well, we got Kansas City. We got the shim who went to the other place. And don't forget that there was a B strapped to the shim, and witnesses that stated there were 2 other people involved that fled the scene. Was that a failed attempt at a F, and then the other letter is F? Okay, a false situation, that a flag. So now we have the parade for Kansas City being interrupted in a terrible way by somebody. Okay, one person was unalived, and I heard up to 20 people were injured. Okay, now then we have this situation with Jake Sullivan coming out and giving an impromptu press conference talking about this danger perhaps being nuclear in nature. So, well, we got a lot more going on, I'll get to in a minute, that we have to stay focused on. But a reporter said, perhaps if we consider this in practical terms, this is one of the points why Elon Musk supports the idea of peace as soon as possible, since technically SpaceX's low orbit satellites, Starlink, are used by the armed forces of Ukraine for fast comms purposes at the front lines. So if Russia decided to go up and knock out a lot of Elon Musk's satellites with a NUKE, all right, it could cripple the entire company. And but that's another statement that proves that they can't accuse Musk of unduly helping Russia when they can just go on the open market and buy the equipment and use it just like any other entity. So let me see. Here are the reports as they were coming out, which, you know, during the day I was going, man, this sounds kind of serious. And it is serious, but it's a timing. It appears that Russia is in the process of deploying via multiple recent satellite launches or is preparing to deploy an anti-satellite based nuclear weapons system into space. Concerns have escalated amid Russian military-related satellite launches, the most recent of which occurred last week. Okay, I'll read two more report updates, but I will say that they ignored Putin. And I'll tell you what, they ignored his message. And I'll get to that in a minute. It'll blow your mind. And I'm thinking it's one of the reasons why they put the sanctions cutting off Russian news. And so, yeah, and they're coming up with this stuff that boogeyman Putin is going to be launching nukes, okay? My sources say, this reporter, that this is a Russian anti-satellite weapons capability designed to destroy or degrade U.S. and allied satellite constellations. Radiation produced by a nuclear explosion would likely cause widespread disruption to these constellations. So, as Lieutenant Colonel Robert Vincent says, most satellites with a line of sight to the nuclear detonation will be destroyed from the resulting X-rays. Military space capabilities for command and control, along with reconnaissance assets, may still function for a period following the detonation, but the economic impact of degraded informational space products will be immediate. Okay, so, all right, that's pretty dire warning there. That's a pretty dire warning. I can see the old algorithms back in place, but anyway, there is a further description of the effects of a nuclear weapon on satellites, and descriptions of how, by necessity for weight and everything else, that the material is very thin, and in a space atmosphere, the absence of atmosphere in low orbit would magnify the results of a blast and cause serious damage for pretty much an unknown distance. So yeah, they have 5,000 satellites up there, but how long does a destructive blast last? And how far will it travel? And then you have these satellites that are not in the area, and then they are orbiting into the area. So then I want to get to Putin made a speech nobody's talking about. And he didn't say anything about blowing up any satellites. So is this a completely homegrown thing that they're putting out on CNN tonight as we speak, or already have put it out, and Jake Sullivan having his press conference, and of course me bringing it up. But let's see, October 26, 2023, it's an article. Russia warns Western nations over space satellites used to help Ukraine. The armed conflict in outer space may be just more than just science fiction. Russia warned space satellites used in Western conflicts could become legitimate targets. His remark came from the head of Russian Foreign Ministry, and criticizing the West for compromising the sustainability of peaceful space activities by utilizing civilian satellites for military purposes. He questioned legality of that, citing concerns with the framework of the 1967. Have you ever heard of this before? 1967 Outer Space Treaty. So, what is that treaty? The Outer Space Treaty, in effect since October 10th, 1967, prohibits the stationing of weapons of mass destruction in outer space and bans military activities on celestial bodies. It establishes binding regulations governing the peaceful exploration and use of space, emphasizing its exclusive use for peaceful purposes. So, of course, the celestial body that they're talking about is the moon, but they include all celestial bodies. Russia has long accused Washington and its allies of employing space and aerial reconnaissance assets to provide the Ukrainian armed forces with critical information about Russian military activities. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, the orbital constellation comprises 450 satellites, primarily commercial Earth remote sensing and radio technology satellites. They play a role in target identification, reconnaissance, and intercepting radio communications and messages. Now, of course, this article is rather old. It's over a year old, so there's a lot more than 450 satellites up there. But you see all this stuff at play, and I'm thinking, well, you know, Putin gave a speech. He gave a press conference, didn't say a word about it. I haven't seen it being put out there, except by this Turner fellow, and then in turn, Jake Sullivan. So, and now CNN. So I'm going, hey, are they trying to get everybody fired up, worried about this? Yes, Sissy, I'm going to have to take your comment down because you used the SHOT word and did not put use a zero for an O. So you can't put words like that in my chats. And anyway, and sometimes, you know, I don't have Nikki. I don't catch it and I get in trouble. Okay, so please use numbers for vowels. All right, so let me get my train of thought back. So when you think about what we have going on, I've already mentioned Kansas City. I've already mentioned what happened with the Shim attack, namely a TRANNY. But we had this border bill nobody wants to talk about. They're trying to push through something where they can bypass Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House and plop it directly in front of the House. You've got Biden putting out that what I put on my community page. Hi, Miss Mindersu. Hi, Care. How are you doing? Which many of you may not have seen yet. I put it on my community page. Let me see. Where Biden was talking. Demented Biden goes insane, demands all illegal immigrants get full amnesty. What was I saying last night? They get in front of the immigration line. They get free lawyers and full citizenship to bring in over 35 million of their relatives. That was the prattle coming out of Biden's office today. Just what I was warning about with my thumbnail that said, "Pardon me," last night and previous broadcasts. I said he had the power to give amnesty. And here we go. That came out today. So are they bringing this nuclear bombs in outer space? Or they trying to distract from Tony Bobulinski going before Congress and his testimony that basically confirms blatant violations of law and national security by Joe Biden and his brother James Biden and Hunter Biden, taking bribe money from China and Ukraine and other countries. Or are they trying to get away from this report? What was the report that came out today? How many of you all heard about it? Bombshell report, they say. Let's see. About spying. An earth-shattering report that proves the CIA under Obama and John Brennan heading up the CIA collaborated with US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada to frame President Trump on the Russia situation. Now, those countries I just mentioned are known as the Five Eyes. If you look on the 17 alert, all right, you just use the letter alert. They spell it EYES, just like your eyes in your head. But what it really means is the abbreviation for intelligence, I, the letter I. Five Eyes, five intelligence countries, the intelligence services of countries that we have an agreement with to share information. So the report came out. Jesse Waters did a story on it, and I'm sure Tucker's going to do a story on it, that they framed President Trump, okay? This is prima facie evidence of attempting to overthrow a legitimate government. The whole Steele dossier was maliciously contrived, a false report to destroy President Trump's image in the eyes of the public. So, I have got copies of Matt Taibbi's report, and if I do a picture show, I'll put them on the screen so you get screenshots, but you should be able to find them online. And Matt Taibbi is the same one who did the Twitter files. Okay, this is by Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, and Alex Gutentag. CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump team, triggering Russia collusion hoax, sources say. United States intelligence community targeted 26 Trump's advisors for foreign spy agencies to, quote, reverse target and, quote, bump. Now, if you all have been following the Adelson case, the murder of Dan Markell in Florida, the term bump should come to mind. That is where the law enforcement tries to provoke a response from people. I called it playing cards with them in the past. You goose them. But last year, John Durham, a special prosecutor for DOJ, concluded that the Federal Bureau of Investigation should have opened its investigation of collusion alleged by then presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russia. Okay, they ignored it, checking into what he was talking about. So I'll take some time to read it in toto. But this is something that if the fake news media ignores it, they're going to be in big trouble, in my opinion. But let me tell you what I think is really interesting. There's even more they're trying to distract from domestically. What are they ignoring about Putin? Why did they shut down the outlets, cut off ties with RT, Russian television? If you all notice, I won't say where it's broadcast, but I purposefully, the day, well, I don't want to be too precise, but anyway, when they cut off ties, I played a clip on purpose. It was about a couple of minute clip, and it had the symbol RT in the corner. I was going to see if the algo and then rhythm was going to get me. I didn't say anything to anybody, but I said, let's see how they caught up with it so far. So I played a clip from a banned news agency, and they didn't take it down, knock on wood. But that doesn't mean they won't. So if I disappear for a week, you know what happened. Anyway, why did they do that? Putin's interview with Tucker Carlson, most of us knew what they were going over, but most Americans didn't. But among other things, which I'll discuss, Putin said one important thing today. Please tell me if you've heard this from any major news source. What Putin announced today that has been ignored. Let me read it to you. And I have the video, but it has not been translated. So when it's translated, maybe I'll get to play it. President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday that Russian scientists were close to creating vaccines for cancer that could soon be available to patients. That's huge. That's huge, folks. And what has Russia been telling the UN about what they've been raiding in Ukraine, taking over in Ukraine? He goes on to say, Putin said in televised comments that, quote, we have come very close to the creation of so-called cancer vaccines and immunodulatory drugs of a new generation. Wow. Wow. And you know, there's still communication with Mr. T. We need to be prepared for any challenges, including the threat of outbreaks of new global epidemics. At the moment, Russia has significant achievements in medicine. One of them is work in the field of cancer vaccines, the creation of which has come close, the Russian president said. Okay, I got somebody. Thank you, somebody, someone came in and said, wasn't expecting you tonight. Nice surprise, Mountain Man. I appreciate that. Somebody went to buy me a coffee. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they didn't come up with this. Of course we know that somebody could let off nuclear bombs in space. We've been talking about it with North Korea for years, an EMT attack, and it could cripple us. But now we have this ringing the bell. Do a press conference, get up there and put out a statement to all the senators in the Senate about missiles going up and destroying all the satellites and how it could shut down everything in the country on the very same day that Putin announces that they're very close to cancer vaccines. Multi-billion-dollar industry, just that one disease. I'm just checking the chats here. Jax, you got to put a 1 for an I when you use wordy dirds. So let's see. And Debbie, you got to put a 3, P3DO. Wow, I know why Nikki has such a hard time sometimes. P3DO. Here I'm taking comments out. My. Let's see. So, they're distracting. Hi, Phil. They're distracting from Joe's mental situation, plus all the other things that we talked about tonight. I don't think they're going to do that with Obama. I think Supreme Court's going to affirm presidential immunity, where he can be prosecuted under the boundaries set by the Constitution. I think that's what, and if he is doing things in the performance of his duties, I think that's going to be clarified. So anyway, they could have been trying to drown out Putin on his cancer disclosure, not his personal cancer disclosure, but where they've come, how far they've come. He also, in his press conference, said he put out an olive branch to Germany. The current generation of Germans could not be held responsible for Adolf. And I can't say the last name, but that's important. The German people want to hear that. You can't hold the generation now responsible for what happened in the past. And he also said German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock from the German Green Party, Green being a climate cult bonehead, is indeed hostile, not only to the Russian Federation, but also against her own country, neglecting the economic interests of Germany in favor of foreign interests. Foreign interests, namely the Greta Thunberg lunatics that go out and flatten people's tires and block the roads. The Green Party of Germany capitalizes on people's fears and pursues its own agenda, which is far from what it came to power with. So he's, I've said in the past, 2 movements that got to be criminalized. Okay? The trans / and then the other word is gender movement, and the climate cult need to be criminalized. So it looks like Putin's marching in that direction. But what are the other things they're trying to drown out? Putin, it was reported, I believe, in NBC News, or Reuters, that Putin and his team have put out a peace proposal. Another one. And he's not getting any response from the United States. They could have peace in Ukraine this week, next week, but they won't even deal with him. They won't respond. Nikki has got to get up early in the morning. So we're letting her get her rest. That's okay, Jax. That's right, single songwriter. They will probably put the C.I. and then last letter A. Will put Canucks in space and blame the Ruskies. So, I don't know. Chris Miller put a lot of strong restraints before he left office with Trump about what kind of operations they can do. So we'll see. And Trump said tonight that it's only woke at the top, talking about the military, only woke at the top. So anyway, what else are they trying to distract from? You know, they started that stuff about this threat, putting out these bulletins, sending stuff to the Senate, sending stuff to news agencies, having Jake Sullivan come out. And it made me just go ahead and do a list that I'm going down with you right now. What is happening with Trump? Tomorrow is Fani Willis. She is on the hot seat. I meant to put in my title, I don't remember if I did or not, in capital letters, immediate removal. If I may not have put that in there. Immediate removal, Letitia James. Okay? We know Lee Stefanik has called for her immediate removal by the bar. Okay? And a very detailed report. Was it 60 pages? Or I don't know how many pages it was. It was a lot of pages with a lot of facts. And so you got Fani Willis, Letitia James, Jack Smith. They're all looking at disciplinary action. Okay? Along with Nathan. And calls for at least one of their immediate removal. Now, from the cupcake I put on yesterday, I forget his name, I didn't write it down, who was doing his videos along with the other paid off so-called attorney Midas touch idiots. He claimed that Trump was going to be in New York tomorrow for the Alvin Bragg, Fat Alvin Bragg. But I've heard other people say that Trump was going to be in Atlanta to look Fat Fanny in the eye while she testifies. I'm not totally sure she's going to testify tomorrow. I know that it's scheduled for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday, and possibly more days than that. So, yeah, they want to, they got to fill that airtime up. Those reporters got to fill the airtime up with talking about something. And hey, these characters that put out these videos that we were going over yesterday, the MSNBC shorts of the Midas Touch, this Fed, what was his channel's name? Fed something, bragging that he's used to work for the federal government, which gives them, even though he's a retired loser who didn't do anything while he was getting a paycheck from the government. Oh my gosh, where'd my screen go? There we are, I'm back. My screen went black. But anyway, they got to talk about something. So they throw this nuclear business out there. That makes them not talk about the things I just discussed. This is a huge week, a YUGE week. You got a lot of them in trouble. All the names I just mentioned. What did Trump talk about? Another one that's on the hot seat, but he acts like he's above the hot seat. Judge Engoron. He's bragging about what he's going to do with DJT. That he's been overruled 4 times by the appellate court. It's a record. Okay, he's had to take off Ivana Trump and the statute of limitations. He's lost on all that. Well, people are going, when's he going to come up with his ruling? Well, Mr. T put out all caps. It has been leaked all over the place to the fake news media, probably by the corrupt judge and or attorney general, that a decision on the never used before or for such purpose consumer fraud statute that has been illegally weaponized against me will be released on Friday. I'll read the rest of it in a second. But the timing, he's going to come up, my thoughts are he's going to come up with some outrageous number. What's his name? The wild guy that sells the supplements. Anyway, they come out with it. 83 million for E. Jean Carroll. They came up with what's his face and getting sued for billions of dollars. So they're gonna come out with such a huge figure that is going to give them nothing else to talk about and try to cover for what I think is going to be a bad couple of days for Fannie Willis and her boyfriend Nathan, and maybe even Jack Smith and Letitia. So anyway, he's going to wait till Friday. Why not put it out now, you idiot? But Trump says Judge Engoron wrongfully ruled against me before the trial even started and said Mar-a-Lago was only worth $18 billion. It was already overturned 4 times. A record. This crooked judgment will be a dark and sad day for the justice system in New York. No damages, no victims, only success. Case already won on appeal. A witch hunt, election interference. So, you got all this stuff that's lined up to come out and stuff that is coming out as I sit here and speak. And I believe that these 2 situations with the GUNs, okay, were MK Ultra, okay, where they can plan out when this stuff's going to happen. And what do they have in the background? State funeral. Jimmy Carter's been in hospice for how long? So, Fireworks Friday seems to be a trend lately, yeah? So I don't know. I've been live. I don't know how much coverage CNN has given this nuke threat. But I know one thing. I haven't seen anything except from Russian news about the cancer situation. Trump would also put out the Her report shows practically everything Joe Biden said was a lie. Additionally, he has illegally weaponized the DOJ and the FBI together with local DAs, attorney generals against his political opponent, me. Nothing like this has ever happened in the U.S. before, and for this he should be impeached. Joe Biden is destroying our country, is a threat to our democracy, and is, without question, the worst president in the history of the United States. Make America great again. So, yeah, maybe the business of him coming out about what he wants to do with the illegals, give them amnesty. Maybe he dropped that dime too quickly, Biden. Or maybe I gave him the idea. Maybe he was watching my broadcast last night. I don't know. But we had somebody come in the chats last night that said, oh, the 2022 registration votes were, they said some really high number. Because I had a meme up showing the 2020 was about, I forget what it was, 158 million or something like that. Well, of course, in 2022, 2 years later, the registration is going to shoot through the roof because they had to justify all those phony votes. Okay, that's perfect evidence right there. How could our voter registration jump up way higher than even the daggone birth rate? Fraud and illegal immigration. one and the same, you might as well say. Yeah, I heard about that folder coming out too. Everybody wants to know about the folder. So, and then also remember, I talked about it last night. CBS fired Catherine Herridge. General Flynn put out something about that. CBS just destroyed itself. CBS _ Herridge remains one of the finest investigative journalists of modern times. To fire her is a sign that they are about to burn down themselves. Good riddance, CBS. And Michael Schellenberger, he is what General Flynn was responding to. Michael Scheller said CBS News was one of the most respected names in journalism. No longer the case. They fired Catherine Herridge, who was facing financial ruin and even prison for protecting her sources. She is a hero. CBS executives have behaved cowardly. Shame on them. Exactly right. But we know what Catherine Herridge has been dropping bomb on. The last thing she reported on was not just the expansion of Gitmo and the addition of those courthouses. She reported that there may be a what you call a black swan event coming. Anybody that's not down with what the term black swan event means, it's easy to look up, especially if you are not on Goggle, you're on DuckDuckGo or some other search engine. So let me see. I haven't checked the chats in a little bit. We ain't got no words that are gonna cause problems. That's all right, Angela. You're late, but you're here. In sunny Southern California. The governor take out satellites. Our government. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Hey, you know what? What I really thought when I first heard about them taking out satellites, I'm going to say it in 2 words. And the last word, I'm going to say it in code, okay? The first thing I thought about was paper. And then the second word is BALL, OTS. Okay? Paper, BALL, OTS. Just like Mr. T was saying, watermarked and with a quantum accounting method. And don't forget, we've got Space Force. It's 4 years. 4 years. EMP, yeah. Well, we knew it was coming. So, okay, so we're not off guard. We're not upset. We know we're expecting. Okay, I am fully expecting for this toy I have in front of me to not work. Okay, I grew up half my life. You heard that stupid phone ring, you didn't even want to hear it ring. If you didn't want to answer it, you didn't answer it. If it was important, they call you back. You didn't even know who it was. And I'm perfectly willing to go back to that. So, no, it's not going to be the end of the world for me, and it shouldn't be for you all either. We've discussed, have things on hand, have dry food, have a plan, have spare gasoline, have a way to cook your food. other than electric, even though they want to outlaw gas stoves. Have you a camp stove? Have you something on hand? Have you a daggone barbecue with a propane tank, whatever it takes. Bottled water. Rinse out your milk jugs and fill you up a dozen milk jugs for, if nothing else. Because the main thing is to stay calm and carry on. So, this business of Biden saying illegals need to go to the front of the line, have amnesty, and bring their family members in. I was talking about housing, and I talked about how they can play around with property tax, or they can do what they did as far as tenants go. They can tell tenants, we'll give you a check if you put people in your apartment. If your landlord don't like it, tell them to stuff it. Hey, look what they did. They suspended rents. The landlord couldn't even get his damn rent. And then you have their properties going up for foreclosure. Too bad. Stay home, stay safe. And what did Bill de Blasio say? Well, the more properties that go into distress and foreclosure, he said the specific company could buy them up. Black is the first word and rock is the second. Bill de Blasio was talking about what a great opportunity it was to cause landlords to be in so much distress because they froze, quote, froze rents, that they have to give their property up, stealing from them. So sure, make the landlords accept this situation. Your property get destroyed, tore up, a bunch of drug addicts or who knows what in there. Because you think that tenant's going to give whatever goodie check they get from the government to the landlord? They're going to keep it for themselves. And hey, you got judges like it going on in New York who's trying to destroy the most successful businessman in the entire country, much less the city. I was going to say city, but what do you think they'll do just average landlords? So anyway, all right, folks, I just thought I'd come up. And in case anybody said, oh, my goodness, what is going on with the Russians launching nuclear weapons into space and all that? Well, got a lot more stuff than that going on. And we always knew that was in the cards. If it didn't by our own government, it could happen by North Korea, okay? It could happen by CHYNA, okay? But they want to blame Putin. Why? Because they want to shut down Putin. They don't want nobody listening to what he has to say. He wants peace in Ukraine. That's going to cost these weapons dealers a ton of money. He might have a cure for cancer. That's going to cost Big Pharma a ton of money. Bite your tongue. You want peace? What are you talking about? You want cures? What are you talking about? So anyway, so that's what we got, folks. Where's Bubba? Robin said, I miss Bubba too. Well, Bubba was in a couple of nights ago, Robin. But I haven't seen him tonight. Let's see. Where is Camperman? Ha ha ha. He might be busy. Well, I don't usually go live on Wednesdays, folks. But when I saw these reports about the EMTs or about the nuclear thing and about Jake Sullivan having a press conference and all the people on Telegram that I snoop around, ghost, and watch these news services, senators being alerted, I said, well, let's put it out there. We're the news. We already knew. KNEWS, we knew. And we're on to their, like Robin said, we're on to their BS. And their media blitz is intensifying, bashing Trump. I saw one today. Joy Reid looks like they glued some hay to her head out of the field. They clipped out of a hay bale and just glued it to the top of her head. She looks ridiculous. And but she really came out with a nasty a short about Trump and said that he unalived, he's responsible. He's responsible for what happened with the pandemic. And I didn't get a copy of that video because it puked me out, and I really don't want to play that on my station. So I don't think I'm going to do it. But they're getting as low and guttural, lower than they have in a long time, and they're going to get worse. So anyway, folks, tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow's a big day. Fanny in Georgia, and she's looking at criminal charges. She's looking at losing her law license. So is Nathan. I think they're both going to lose their law license. She might try to throw him under the bus. And how to pay. Nice to see you. Hell to pay. But she might try to throw him under the bus. So welcome aboard, Hal. First now meeting. You're coming at the end of the broadcast. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. While I got a lot of you in here, I want to ask you a question. Should I put my chats on subscriber only? Please tell me what you think about that. If you're watching these broadcasts after it's the live stream, please put in the comments. Should I put my live stream chats into subscriber only? Because I run into that a lot. When I go into chats, it'll say subscriber only. And a lot of the channels I watch, I subscribe to, and I participate in the chats. But let's see. Let me see. You're welcome, Phil. Thank you, Robin. And how are you a clown? Ha ha ha. Fanny equals ASS. Oh, my word. Okay, I got a yes, and I got a no. I got a yes, I got a yes. No chat on subscribe from Gino, 2018. Have you been ghosting us, Gino, watching and not commenting? If you don't comment anyway, what's the matter, Gino? Nice to see you, though. Nice to see you in the chats. But I'm getting a lot of yeses. Hi, Ivan. How are you doing? Ian says, it's my decision. They lose my ears. Gino says, yes, now. Oh, yes, you listen. I'll lose your ears or you'll lose your ears. Hi, Alan. Donna says no. Jack says, leave it open until we can't handle the trolls. I don't mind trolls. I mean, if they're, coming in and having a decent conversation, even if they say something stupid, because they're being taught stupid things by fake news that are, especially in some of the videos I've shown and what I was talking about, I saw today, that it's downright criminal. The way the news services are inciting vitriol in this country with falsehoods and libel. It's bordering on criminal. So that's what they learn. That's what they know. Tracy said, absolutely. That's right, Ian. Not many trolls. So it's just a thought. I'll see how many people say something in the comments about whether or not the chats should be subscriber only. Oh, yeah, Gino, I think Fanny's going out, and that's why. And Goron is waiting till Friday to make his announcement. He's going to make such a horrible communist decision against Trump that it's going to try to suck up the news cycle. Phil says, free banter of speak. That's right, single songwriter. Trolls are great comic relief. Well, they can subscribe and troll. I think they got to subscribe and then they got to wait like 4 minutes before they can make a comment. So at least they'll think before they type, I think it's something like that. Instead of they just type something real crazy and put it in there and they didn't take time to think. They don't, know what kind of community we are or nothing. So if they say, okay, they got something to say and they'll wait 5 minutes for the subscription to register, then they can comment. They might be a little more thoughtful. You didn't get a notification, Wanda. Make sure you check see if your notification bell is wrong. So anyway, all right, folks. That's right, Marilyn. You can't fix stupid. But we got a lot of good crowd here. I didn't have a lot of back and forth to do. Okay, single songwriter said, no, the way to gain more followers. Well, I've been frozen. I was frozen at a 1.25 or something like that, 1.3 for half a year. And then I get some more subscribers. I forget what I'm at right now, 1.4 something. In 6 months, it's ridiculous. I think they didn't suppress me the other night because I had 5,000 views, which makes more sense. And then boom, I'm right back down to almost identical views. You're talking a couple hundred view difference per broadcast. That's nothing, 800 views versus 1,000. 1,000, 1,200, all right in that range for 6 months is ridiculous. And anyway, I don't know, Clay. I might be up tomorrow. We will see. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting day. I'm going to keep an eye on that, and you all keep an eye on it too. And if you don't have time, you'll get a recap from me. Anyway, all right, folks, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. No matter what happens, stay calm, carry on, be prepared, and the best is yet to come, right, folks? That's great, Gino. Thanks for listening. You all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.